Just thought of that.
Appreciate that, because I think if having a library of them so other people can look at them, that's fine. So I'm talking about tonguing, and tonguing is you have the airflow in place and the tongue is blocking and then you release. Let me do that one little exercise again. So you can start and stop the air without the tongue, but it's not as clean as if you have the tongue blocking. And it's really removing the tongue rather than putting the tongue in, which is backwards from what I was taught or learned. And it seems to work fairly well. So we tend to get a bit uncoordinated with that, so it makes it harder than it needs to be. So what he's talking about is something like this. With he did the breath attack I showed you, and then he's putting his tongue away and tonguing. We're going to T2, like Terminator 2, I think was better than Terminator 1. He does it more dynamically. He's already playing the note, so you don't need to set it up. So he has the air already ready to flow. Not blowing any extra. So when you're tonguing, don't try to blow extra. When he releases the tongue, the airstream should already be in place. So we don't want to overdo it. That is what we need to do at the beginning of any note or phrase. We can't play the note with just air, and we can play the note with air and then block it. We have to know how the air goes for a particular note. So when you start playing, you need to get into practice of playing different notes and different registers so that you have a feel for how the airflow is when you first tongue a note. Otherwise, when you tongue the note, you're going to block it too much, or you're going to release it not enough. And he called that fracking, which he really means cracking the note. So he called it fracking if you block it just slightly and not block it all the way. So I don't know how that ties into oil in shale. But anyway, let's see.
He's English.
Yeah.
They like to play with their words.
I guess they're the ones that started the language, so we probably should pay attention. Though they say, there actually is a theory that English back in the revolutionary times was more like American, and American, it developed over time to be different. But who knows?
Well, yeah, they say the people who live in Appalachia and the mountain people,
yeah,
hillbillies and that their accent is a lot more like the English accent of the 1700s than it is today.
Interesting. Okay, so we make the note. So we need to kind of have an idea. And he talked about where the note goes towards. In the lower register, this is your teeth and this is your tongue. The tongue goes at more towards the tip of the teeth. Let's see, it would be more like the tip of the teeth. And as you go higher, the tongue moves up more towards the roof of the mouth. And so in the next lesson, after we get done talking about tonguing, he talks about tonguing in the upper register, and he has some exercises for that, which I sent to you. Tips for better tonguing. That's done with T1 and T2. We'll go to T3. And so the tongue releases from the teeth and comes back. The air should already have the good support and air going, and then it should release, and then the tongue interrupts the air at that point. And he says you should keep the air flowing so that you can tongue quicker. Okay. So he talks about you don't want to blow extra. So he goes like this and he goes. It sounds kind of like two, two, two. But instead, the air is already going. Okay. Continuous airflow. Because we are not starting and stopping the air every time, there is less movement in the aperture. We're straining the air as it starts, and we can get our tongue moving faster as we need a relaxed and light tonguing. He doesn't talk about the light tonguing. I say that if you tongue lighter, you can tongue faster. Some music, you might have to tongue harder, depending upon the sound. Same thing applies with different syllables, whether you're saying da, ta, or ka is different. It's the back of the tongue.
Okay.
The difference is how much meat of the tongue is engaged when we say da or ta. And it looks like the da is using more meat of the tongue and the ka is using less meat of the tongue to me. He did not talk about that. All right, so we're going here. It also really helps thinking about tonguing and dealing with multiple tonguing. So he talks about double tonguing. We typically rock the tongue back and forth by going daka, 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 daka. And the ka is tonguing with the back part of the tongue. Daka, 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 daka. And so that's why in the last lesson we practiced just doing the notes with the ka tongue to get the ka tongue going. He says that you should practice double tonguing very slowly, because then once you get it slow, then you're going to be able to play it faster and you're going to get a more even and consistent tongue. He says a lot of people practice double tonguing too fast. And I can double tongue really fast, but playing it slow is hard. So
Yeah.
you need to practice the slower double tonguing. That way you can double tongue at different tempos.
That exercise that you gave us last week, I guess it was, where you play it, you know, you slur it, then you tongue it, then you use, you know, ka 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 ka, and then double tongue. I really had to think.
Yeah, it really was work, and I think you should watch your language with that ka ka. But anyway, yeah, and he says to practice it slowly. So the exercise he gave us was good. He gives us another exercise this week. He says that if you, let's see, ta, ka, taka, 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 syllables, more back on the tongue with the ka, and back and forth on the tongue, which he says you can use the word ga for the back one too. I haven't tried that. He says to use whichever you find best for you. Ga, ga, taka, 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 taka. I don't know. I like the ka. I like the ka, but you know, maybe ga works.
For speed, it's a lot faster to use a duh sound than a tuh sound, and a G sound than a K sound.
Taka, taka, taka. Okay, maybe we go to ga.
Those are aspirated sounds. When you make that sound, you get a puff of air.
Yeah.
Ta ta ka ka ka, and I think that taking that out speeds you up.
And then he talked about triple tonguing, da ta 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 da, da ta 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 da ta 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 ta. And that one was a little bit interesting, where you kind of need to practice that slowly. We'll admit Kathy, here she comes.
She is.
There she is.
Yeah, sorry I'm late.
That's all right. We did the first half. We talked about tonguing. Let me just review it for a second. The picture's my dad on Okinawa in 1945.
Oh my
He's right
God.
there. He's the one on He's the one right there. Oh, there he is right there.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
Oh, well, I was going through a closet and found a lot of letters. And so the letters, the one I found most interesting so far is he made this flying wing out of paper and was flying it in Okinawa. And he fell in a Japanese pillbox, which was unoccupied, fortunately. And
Oh,
his buddies all wanted him to apply for a Purple Heart. And he said, no, that's for combat. I hurt my ankle flying model airplanes, doesn't count. So, with playing, he was talking about tonguing, and it seems opposite than what I'm used to. Is when you want to do a nice clean note, you're actually blocking the air with your tongue first, and then you have the airflow set up, and then as you play the flow, you're just interrupting with your tongue. And then daka, daka, daka for double tonguing. And he says that to play the double tonguing really slow to get used to using the ka. And the other thing he said is you can use a ga instead of a ka. And we kind of were in a consensus that the ga might be easier and move faster. Say ta ga, taka, taka, ta ga, taka, taka. I'm going back to ka. I'll have to practice it. And then triple tonguing was da, ta, 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 ta. But any rate, then he had another lesson where he's talking about tonguing in the upper register. And it was his first exercise of the week. So he's doing an exercise every week in 2020. So we'll have plenty of stuff to still talk about. And he was talking about routines and practicing skills, things that are hanging us up, our articulation, particularly in the upper register. The problem with tonguing in the upper register is your tongue raises and changes the shape of your tongue, and it makes it a little more difficult to tongue in the upper register. He says in the lower register, your tongue is meeting near the end of the teeth and gradually works up to the roof of the mouth in the upper register. He says in the upper register, and he had a lesson on whistling, which we did, which was W for trumpet, where when you whistle, and he's doing it with less of a whistle than I am, but you can see the tongue goes up, and if you go, if you do that, you can actually feel your tongue going up and down, whether you whistle or not. If you're just blowing air through, you can get the feel for that. So when tonguing in the upper register, you're actually tonguing a little higher on the roof of your mouth. Now, he does some exercises for that, which I sent you. I'm going to go open them really quick and share them with you. So I'm going to have to minimize this and sneak into where I am. Boom, and get to my computer. Just give me a second. Normally I have these open, but I didn't today. Documents, music, and I sent them to you. So his exercises are tonguing in the upper register, and the other one is called upper register, which was a PDF, which I opened up. And so you have the tonguing in the upper register, and I'll share it so you can see it. Just a second here. And I will go back to here and share it. And they're here. Now, what he says to develop this tonguing in the upper register, and this first one is going up to G, but the one he demoed it on was the one with the F sharp that went up to from F and just went from a low F up to, I think it was a G. But what we can do I think I'll just do F up to G. I think it was G. And so he did, I'll do the first one. And so he slurred the first round. Let's see, G, and that's in a G again. So he slurred that just to get the airflow going. And then he would stop it with his tongue. Just to get the idea of stopping it with your tongue. And then he'd do the last ones all flowing, interrupting with the tongue. So, I think I missed 2 notes, but that's all right. And so that's what he did for the exercises to develop you and get you used to putting your tongue in the right place for tonguing in the upper register. Now, the other thing he did was, let me go here and go to, boom, documents. And if you open your PDF, you'll see this one. He goes, let me go back to music. Documents, music, Brian Davis. This PDF here, which I will share. You scoot down. And so he does this one. I haven't posted his video, but if you want to see it, this is where it is. You'd have to type that in, but I'll post it on Trumpet by Doug. And he plays this one using that tonguing technique. And then he says, if you can go higher, that's great. And I just had to laugh.
Yeah.
Because there's no way I'm going that high right now. So, but he can play that high, and he showed us this with the tongue. And so doing those different exercises can help you with your tonguing in the upper register. And so I will stop that share and go here and come back. And so he went through those different exercises. And he says what happens is you have to get used to knowing what the airflow is for that particular note. And those exercises will do it. So then when you start the tongue blocking, you know the correct airflow so that when you attack the note, which he thinks is a misnomer because you're actually releasing the note rather than attacking the note. But in concert band vernacular, when you attack the note, then you have the right airflow and release your tongue to play that note. So again, talking about this, he likes to release the note with the tongue in place. Yeah, that was good. And always already have the airflow in place. And I think that if I practice that a little more, my tonguing will be much better. I think that when I learned, it was the opposite. They kind of told you to start the note with the tongue rather than interrupting the air with the tongue. Maybe it gives you the same effect, but I think if you're thinking of it his way, it seems to work a little better. So he said some players show that arching of the tongue by whistling breath. And whistling is actually, in the whistling exercise we talked about in W for whistling, is actually arching your tongue right to play the note. And it is also the right amount of air so you don't overblow. So if you don't whistle, practice whistling. I remember I was in high school and I wanted to whistle and I couldn't. And I just practiced blowing and moving my tongue I probably did it for a couple of months until I started getting a whistle. And then later on, I could really whistle really well. Drum corps played Berlioz's Fifth Movement, and I could whistle that fairly well. So, and I whistled it so much, our pet cockatiel started whistling it. And the cockatiel got it almost 100% right. And he would do it by bobbing, especially that march to the scaffold, the Fifth Movement. Ba-na-na-na. It was, that cockatiel couldn't talk, but he could whistle Berlioz. So let me see if there's anything else here. Muscles arch. And he just said playing those exercises are what's going to help you. And you should play them all in a single breath. And the first part is slurred. The next 4 notes, which are quarter notes, it's blocked with the tongue and held purposely blocked. And then the next 4 eighth notes are tongued with a nice flow. And you don't stop the flow, you just interrupt with the tongue. So that's the exercise for today. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
I got something I want to mention to you. Last semester, Richard did all this stuff on note grouping. We had those enormous lessons, and what I did for my section was just them down the way you're doing these lessons here. But I got like the whole thing that he had on maybe 1 page or 2 pages, and you know, I've got them. If you want them, I'll send them to you.
I'd love to have them because I found it rather confusing.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah, so
that's
have
good.
you email it to me.
Yeah.
If anybody else wants it, that's fine. That would be great. Trying to think if there's anything else. We did have that improvise that you were maybe working on over the week. You still have that PDF, and go to the week 3 and see what that improvising is. I think if we do that every week, then we'll learn more how to improvise with our notes. They added an extra note last week, and I didn't look to see what they're doing for this week, but I will keep you up on that. Today, they're working on my lessons from Musical U, working on do, re, mi for low, middle, high. And the do actually moves in different scales, but having us sing that and just getting our ears used to hearing where do, re, mi is. And they're doing simple songs like Hot Cross Buns and Mary Had a Little Lamb, just to have us hear what's higher, what's lower. And I think it's actually training my ear a little better. So I'll try to maybe see if I can keep you up on the lesson. It seems very basic, but I never really took music appreciation. I wasn't in a marching band that I learned music. I had to kind of learn it on my own. And I think this is actually helping me a lot. So, and the 6-week class was only $49. And I think it's worth it. I don't know if I'll pay for other classes. So, all right.
I have a question. Tomorrow night, do we start our Zoom class for Curtis Mason?
We're supposed to, and our section leaders are supposed to be contacting us and kind of briefing it on us.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard from that. Richard will probably send you a link, I'm guessing tomorrow, where we can do it. It was postponed last time for.
You forgot.
Oh.
Well, the Monday, the jazz band had.
Oh, it was a holiday. It was
that's
a
right,
holiday also. Yeah, so that's fine. All right. I'll let you go. Thank you very much.
You bet. We'll see you then.
Next week,
Thanks.
Thanks, Doug.
Next
Doug?
week?
I have to leave a little early because I'm scheduled to get my COVID shot. That in
Um,
Imperial Beach.
I'm getting my COVID shot Wednesday at Betco. So, but it was really hard to get an appointment because I did an appointment for Monday, and by the time I filled out the form, it said Monday's not available, pick a different date. And I picked Tuesday, and then I had to pick a different date. Finally, I got Wednesday. So
Jeez.
if you are applying for Petco Park, maybe pick one the next week so you don't have that problem.
I
I think
got a
they
notice.
canceled today in the morning
Yeah, for the
because
rain.
it was raining.
And they say that those appointments are still honored. I think they pushed them back to Thursday,
Yeah.
but they still honored them. I don't know if that's going to affect my Wednesday. I got Wednesday real early in the morning, but I'll just get there real early and read a book. And,
I got a notice from Scripps that says you must apply by the 18th, and I got the email on the 19th.
they're not as good. I called Scripps, which is mine too. And I said, well, I'm 65. I'm a teacher. I've got high sugar issues and I want to get it. And they said, oh, we'll contact you. But then turns out they're not authorized to give the shots yet. So.
Well, they don't have the
We'll figure it out.
vaccine. They sent something that said they had 975 doses for like 150,000 people or something, or 15,000 or something crazy.
Then there were rumors about if the vaccine was going to go bad, they were throwing it out instead of giving it to people. And then the news reported that's not true. If they had vaccine that was going to go bad, they gave it to people no matter who they were.
Yeah.
So I have a quick question for Greg. You had yours. Did they schedule your second appointment then?
Yeah, I had it a week ago.
Oh, you had your second one?
I've had my second one, yeah.
Did you
Was
have
it
any
Pfizer?
reactions?
Did I
Because
have?
he's-
No,
because
I was
he's special.
okay after the second one. You tend to get more reactions in younger people with
Oh,
the second one.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All
That's
right.
good.
Well,
I'll let you guys go first.
get the vaccine. All right. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care. Bye.